money needed to buy a home, or in mortgage terminology, assets. That's the topic for today. We're going to discuss assets, your down payment, your closing costs, your reserves, what type of money can be used by mortgage professional and by banks to satisfy that requirement. So for example, if somebody is buying a home, let's say for $500,000 and wishes a mortgage of 400,000, what happens? Where is this 100,000 coming from? Plus obviously the closing costs. I'm going to discuss the eligible types of assets. I'm Robert Niazov, your trusted mortgage source from R&J Capital Group, and let's begin. First is very simple. Money in your checking or savings account. This is probably the most popular type of assets that the mortgage company can accept. We normally need bank statements for 2 months, and they have to be consecutive, they have to be most recent, and we need all pages. Sometimes, you know how it says 1 of 8, 2 of 8, 3 of 8, etc. Sometimes people would send maybe 6 pages and say, listen, the last 2 pages was nothing all there, or just information, maybe contact information or consumer information. We do need those pages. If we don't have them and it says 6 of 8 and there's something else missing, for example, the bank will say, aha, you're hiding something from us, so please prepare all the pages. And these days it's very easy because they are electronic copies, by the way, for any type of this are eligible. We do need the entire file. Checking or savings account statements are acceptable. Second one is business bank statement. So if you're a business owner and you wish to use some of the business funds for the transaction, that is eligible in most cases. We do need business bank statement, also 2 months, along with the accountant's letter that any withdrawal of these funds or a specific amount, let's just say you want to use 20,000 from your business bank account, and you're going to use it for the transaction of purchasing a home, accountant for the business has to write a letter that taking this money from the account will not impair the business. It will not have a negative effect on the business. The business will continue operating without real suffering. So that's the business bank statement. It's very similar, same idea. Just give us a statement. Electronic statement is fine. If you have stocks, if you have equity, if you have money in mutual funds, also eligible source. However, because of the fluctuations in the market, you can show a statement today that has 100,000, but in a week it could be 120 or 70 or 85. Because of this, the banks came up with the idea of only using 70% of the amount. Okay, so if you want to use it and you have 100,000 for bank purposes, they will only use 70% or 70,000. So just remember that variation. Retirement funds. So this one is a little bit tricky. Retirement funds could be used, but you need to kind of take the money from your retirement. Let's say you have money in the 401k plan. If you have money in the retirement funds, they can be used at 60% normally, and it has to be withdrawn and put in one of these, checking or savings. So then the bank can use it and say, fine, this is an acceptable source. But before you withdraw, it will be used at 60%. Again, the balance is 100, only 60,000 will be counted towards your the money that is acceptable for use. This one is interesting. It cannot really be used for the transaction unless you, again, cash it out, but this can be used as reserve. If you have life insurance, okay, the life insurance that gives you cash values, the amount of the cash value, the present value of the cash values will be used as reserves. So sometimes we have a use of it. Those that have life insurance, the permanent life insurance policy, can benefit from this idea. Next is gifts. It's related with number 7, with deposits a little bit. So gifts are allowed on primary residences. If you buy a home for primary or second home, you buy a vacation home or home to live, you can get a gift only from family members. You can take $15,000 gift, $10,000 gift, put in your checking account, and it will be counted. This one is very interesting. If you just make deposits into your account to kind of fill it in to buy the home, every deposit has to be sourced. In other words, if there is no trail, let's say you put $4,000 cash in the account, well, that money will not be counted because the bank needs to go back and see where this money comes from. You see, banks don't really maybe care about this that much, but they have to follow government laws. And one of them has to do with what's called money laundering. There is another one that has to do with US Patriot Act. You know, you see the government says terrorists, for example, or money launderers, basically the criminals, need money to operate, and that's what they're trying to prevent. They're not saying that everybody who's buying a home obviously is involved in something bad, but it is their duty to act on behalf of the government, meaning they have to follow the government regulations to see that the money that comes into the account is clean. So how do they do this? Let's say your cousin gave you 15,000 for the transaction. Great. So get, we'll need some proof that it's cousin's money. Okay, you sold your car and you put 7,800 in your checking account. That will also need to be verified, that all of a sudden you got 7,800. So bank may ask for, let's say, a bill of sale and proof of funds coming from the buyer to you as a seller. Things like this. You may sell furniture, you may sell other belongings. That's fine too, as long as we have a paper trail, a proof where the money comes from and your source is a legitimate source. Not a very, simple idea, not a very simple concept for all of this. That's why we're here. That's why we're your mortgage professionals. If you have questions, if you have follow-ups, if you are on this road to buy a home and don't have enough money on the account and need to ask us what to do, what your steps should be, by all means, please ask. Please, I invite you to write it in comments. Please subscribe to our channel. Tell your friends about us. We love educating the public and we'll continue doing so. Thank you for watching. God bless you all.